What's up guys, Firewolf here, showing you guys the INNOCN 49Q1R Super Ultrawide OLED gaming monitor that comes with a 5120 by 1440 resolution and smooth 144Hz refresh rate. This monitor is designed for immersive gaming and multitasking with its 32:9 aspect ratio and subtle 1800R curvature. It features Samsung's 2nd gen QD-OLED panel that delivers ultra vivid colors, deep blacks, and an ultra-fast 0.03 millisecond response time, making this an awesome choice for creative workflow and beautiful gaming sessions. You're also getting display HDR True Black 400 and adaptive sync to eliminate screen tearing. The panel is coated with a semi-gloss anti-reflective finish, which delivers better clarity than traditional matte displays, though it can show a magenta tint in certain lighting conditions, a common trait with QD-OLEDs. One of the best features of this monitor is its rich connectivity options, including dual HDMI 2.1 ports, a USB-C port with 90 watts of power delivery, 2 USB-A ports, 1 USB upstream, a 3.5mm audio jack, and there's even an RJ45 Ethernet port, which I'll cover shortly. Price for this monitor retails for just under $1,000, but there's a good chance you can find it for way less, so I'll drop a few links down below. In this video, I'll be covering PC gaming, multitasking, macOS, PS5, and whether or not this monitor is worth getting for your desk setup. Huge thanks to INNOCN for sending this out to me so I can showcase to you guys. So let's unbox this INNOCN 49-inch Super Ultrawide monitor. It comes in this white box with the monitor front and center. It is super ultrawide, of course, so I'm not able to fit the whole thing in my camera frame, but let's go ahead and get this open. Alright, now we got the styrofoam out of the way. The first thing we have here is going to be our base in a V shape, and it's also in a nice black color. Alright, next up we have our monitor arm here, and we do have a dedicated headphone stand. You can see on this bottom, this gray hook is going to be for cable management. Further inside, we're going to have a quick installation guide, followed by an INNOCN color calibration factory report. And as for cables, we're going to get a DisplayPort cable, an HDMI cable. We can see upon close inspection, it does say it supports up to 8K 60Hz, a USB 3.0 upstream cable that you can connect directly to your computer, and a USB C-to-C cable, which will support power delivery, video, and audio. Further inside, you're going to find 4 standoff screws, and this is used so you can mount a VSET monitor adapter so you can have it on a monitor arm. This is something I'm definitely going to use. And finally, a US plug. Now I'm noticing that there is no power brick. It looks like the actual powering system is going to be built into the monitor itself. All right, let's finally get to the monitor itself. And the first thing I'm noticing here is that it does have a protective film on top of the QD-OLED, which is definitely nice to see, of course, to ensure that it's protected against any type of scratches. All right, guys, and here is our 49-inch Super Ultrawide QD-OLED panel with an 1800R curvature. So let's go ahead and set this up. So my recommendation is to lay the monitor inside the foam. That way you don't risk bending it. You can use a standard monitor stand, or you can use these standoffs that get screwed in right over here, which will support VESA 100x100, which is very convenient. For the stand, all we have to do is come at it at an angle here, and then drop it in. You're gonna hear a nice little click. All right, and then you take your bottom stand. You just want to line it up, and then right on the bottom we have a wingtip screw here, so you don't need any type of tools. You can literally just screw it in with your hands. Make sure it's nice and tight. And that's pretty much it. Start lifting up the whole monitor. All right, now that I have everything set up, let's go ahead and peel off the plastic for the QD-OLED. I like the design of this 49Q1R with a simple and subtle back with the rectangular RGB strips that you can customize in the menu. The stand offers a good amount of adjustments like tilt, swivel, and height adjustments, but it does take up a lot of your desk space. This is where I highly recommend a monitor arm to elevate the aesthetics of your gaming desk, and it opens up so much more space. Since this is a super ultra wide monitor, make sure you get a heavy duty monitor arm that can handle at least 49 inches for the best experience. So gaming in a super ultra wide monitor is super immersive, especially for single player adventure games that take full advantage of the 32:9 aspect ratio. You have way more field of view, and the combination of QD-OLED and 1800R curvature, this monitor just makes any game look fire. Now keep in mind, not every game supports ultra wide form factors. and some that do support it might only go up to 21:9. I personally think 21:9 isn't that bad, and thanks to OLED, the two black bars are true black, which vanishes if you play in the dark. For fast-paced games like first-person shooters, 32:9 isn't going to be the most optimal when it comes to competitive play, but thanks to the built-in adaptive sync and ultra-low response times, I mean, you can still definitely slap in the battlefield. I think 144 Hz is more than enough, but if you have a GPU that can handle more frames per second and you want the most hertz, then INNOCN does have a 240 Hz version of this monitor, the 49C1S, which is pricier, but it can give you a slight edge with those fast-paced games. In terms of how much GPU power you might need, the 5120x1440 has a total pixel count of 7.3 million, which is double the amount of a standard 1440p monitor, and much closer to a 4K monitor, which has 8.3 million. So depending on the game, I recommend looking into a GPU's 4K performance benchmarks for a more accurate expectation. So generally, a GPU that has really good 1440p performance should be all you need to enjoy this monitor. Now, since this monitor doesn't have AMD FreeSync or NVIDIA G-Sync compatible, we do need to manually enable adaptive sync in the game settings menu. Also, make sure you set the refresh rate to 144 Hz in your PC settings. And since I have an NVIDIA GPU, I just need to jump into NVIDIA control panel, then to set up G-Sync, then make sure number 1 is checked, and also check the box in number 3. Make sure you hit apply, and you'll now have G-Sync activated to prevent screen tearing. Finally, if you want 10-bit color and SDR, you can also enable this in the NVIDIA control panel as well. For my console gamers, this monitor will be able to support 1440p output and VRR all the way up to 120 Hz thanks to its HDMI 2.1 ports, and you'll also be able to output sound through the monitor's built-in speaker. Testing out the PS5 Pro, you can play in the standard 16:9 with two large black bars to the sides, or switch the aspect ratio to wide in the menu settings to fill up the whole monitor. This stretches the whole image, which some of you may or may not like. Console gaming isn't going to be the most optimal for super ultra wide monitors, but it's still doable. Keep in mind as well that you do have to manually adjust certain settings like turning on HDR and adaptive sync, which would also lock you from changing the aspect ratio, so make sure you choose the aspect ratio first before adding the other setting. Immersive ultra-wide gaming is great on this monitor, but what makes this form factor amazing is the multitasking and productivity that you can get out of this monitor. The 49-inch 32:9 aspect ratio gives you a ton of white space that you can comfortably have multiple windows and apps side by side without needing an additional monitor. When editing using DaVinci Resolve, the amount of space and wide timeline really helps my productive workflow. Using my PC, I personally like scaling the size to 125% and didn't feel the need to adjust any of the color settings, so for me, the standard mode works perfectly, and that's thanks to the 99% DCI P3 color gamut rating with a factory calibrated Delta E less than 2 color accuracy, which looks amazing. The full-featured USB-C port is an awesome touch for laptop users to easily connect and charge at the same time with 90 watts of power delivery, which is perfect for power-hungry laptops like the M4 Max MacBook Pro. One of my personal must-have features on a monitor is a KVM switch, where I can have my keyboard and mouse connected to the monitor and have it automatically detected between my laptop and PC, making this monitor a great choice for laptop users or multi-device users, which avoids having to plug in a separate charger or having a separate KVM switch. For those that use macOS, you'll have full resolution support and 144 Hz over USB-C, which is great, but unlike Windows 11 with their simpler zoom percentages, you either have the default resolution for maximum space but really small text, or choosing the next available high DPI resolution, which is 3360 by 945, and this makes text and apps much larger with no in between, so just keep that in mind. Another thing I do recommend for Mac users is hiding the dock and also the top menu bar, which will open up more space, especially when using it more zoomed in. The included Ethernet port is very easy and simple to use and gives you that stable wired connection without the need of a separate adapter or dock on your laptop. But it unfortunately only gives you up to 100 megabits per second, so for those that have higher speeds, using Wi-Fi or a gigabit Ethernet adapter might still be the better choice. So is the INNOCN 49Q1R worth it for your gaming or productivity setup? If you've been looking for a super ultra-wide OLED monitor with incredible contrast, buttery smooth performance, and a 5K dual QHD resolution, then this monitor checks all the right boxes, and you can get them for under $1,000. I mean, there's 27 and 32 inch OLED monitors that cost even more than that. The 144Hz refresh rate paired with a lightning fast 0.03 millisecond response time makes gameplay feel insanely responsive, and the 32:9 aspect ratio is a dream for multitasking, editing, or immersive games. This QD-OLED panel looks absolutely stunning, and while that semi-glossy finish gives you amazing clarity, just keep in mind the typical magenta tints or raised blacks you might notice under very bright lighting. That's just a part of QD-OLED tech. You also get excellent connectivity, including the 90-watt USB-C port and built-in KVM switch, which overall I feel INNOCN delivered a super solid OLED experience that rivals the big names out there, and for a way more competitive price. If you're in the market for a super ultra-wide OLED monitor that can handle both work and play, the 49Q1R is definitely one to consider. If you're interested in getting this monitor or the mini tech that you've seen in this video, I will have affiliate links down below, which also helps and support the Firewolf Tech channel. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I would love your support with a like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Firewolf out.